We are honored to invite Associate Professor Dr. Chin Wan Yok, the General Chair of ICDXA 2024, to present her welcome note.
Distinguished keynote speaker, senior official of TAUMT, sponsor of ICDXA 2024, industry partners and guests, participant of ICDXA 2024, staff and student of TAUMT, ladies and gentlemen, good morning and a warm welcome to the 3rd International Conference on Digital Transformation and Application ICDXA 2024. It is truly an honor to stand before you as a chair of this remarkable event, hosted by Tunku Rahman, University of Management and Technology, TAUMT, in this vibrant city of Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia, in collaboration with Suranaree University of Technology from Thailand, BINUS University from Indonesia, and IEEE Computational Intelligence Society Malaysia chapter. ICDXA 2024 is not just a conference, it is a convergence of intellect, a platform where knowledge and experience intersect to illuminate the path ahead. ICDXA 2024 is designed to be rich and diverse melting pot, a convergence of industry expertise and cutting-edge research. In these 2 days, we will be treated to a series of talks covering a spectrum of information technology shaping our industries. On the first day, we are privileged to have 3 distinguished keynote speakers, Mr. Kamaru Mohammed, Professor Dr. Noboru Koshisuka, Professor Dr. Sandri Tanggavalu. Their expertise spans industry and academia, and their insights are sure to set a tone for a conference that aims to bridge the gap between theory and practice in the realm of digital transformation. Following this, an industrial conference featuring companies will delve into areas such as data space and enterprise resource planning. These talks are tailored for industry experts, practitioners, and academics alike. The academic discourse continues with 4 tracks of peer-reviewed research papers, where authors will present their valuable works and share the outcomes of experiments conducted by academics and students. Moreover, we are proud to announce the parallel events such as Final Year Project, Showcase and the International Data Space Association Hub Malaysia Inauguration Ceremony, adding even more depth to our conference. ICDXA plays a pivotal role in the growth of TAUMT, propelling us from teaching-based college to an industry-driven and research-oriented university. The impressive response to ICDXA 2024 is reflected in the submission of papers from Malaysia, Indonesia, Philippines, China, India, and beyond. The acceptance rate of 57% underscore our commitment to maintaining the highest standard of quality and excellence of IEEE Explore publication. I would like to express my sincere appreciation to our collaborators, Suranaree University of Technology, BINUS University, and IEEE Computational Intelligence Society Malaysia chapter for their time and expertise that has contributed to the success of ICDXA 2024. A heartfelt thank you goes out to the organizing team, whose unwavering dedication has ensured the seamless execution of this event. To our sponsor, Dynafront Systems Sdn Bhd, Scenic Consulting Sdn Bhd, Expert Innovation Sdn Bhd, Computer Business Solutions Sdn Bhd, Test Innovation Sdn Bhd, and Force Technology Sdn Bhd. Your financial support is instrumental in making this conference a reality. To our esteemed keynotes and academic speakers, your willingness to share your expertise in this conference is sincerely appreciated. Lastly, a special thanks to the President, Vice President, and all supporting departments for their support and assistance. Your commitment has been integral to the success of ICDXA 2024. In conclusion, I invite each of you to engage, collaborate, and immerse yourself in the wealth of knowledge that ICDXA 2024 has to offer. Together, let us chart new frontiers in digital transformation and application. Thank you, and may ICDXA 2024 be a resounding success for all of us.
Thank you, Associate Professor Dr. Chin-Wan-Yong, for her welcome speech. Next, it is my honor to invite Professor Engineer Dr. Lee Zi-Wei, President of Tunku Abdul Rahman University of Management and Technology, to deliver his speech.
A very good morning to all of you, especially to our guests, the keynote speakers, my fellow colleagues and fellow students, and also welcome our partners for this event, ICDXA 2024, which is SUT, BINUS, and IEEE Computational Intelligence Malaysian chapter. Thank you for all your support, and without all the efforts of everyone here, we wouldn't have seen this conference in a reality today. Now, this is a series of what we have been organizing for the past few years by the Faculty of Computation Science, or FOCS of Thai UMT. I'm indeed very proud today, this morning, to be here to give a very short remark to all the participants. And today we're talking about the digital transformations. We're talking about digitizations of every aspect of life. I happen to be involved in some of this kind of research and industry collaborations, especially during my early days when I joined the academic. We were still talking about, say, in the 90s and the early 2000s, we were still talking about how to improve the access to a network, right? Improve the access, the speed, the quality of connections for users, right? We were talking about moving from 2G to 3G, 3G to 4G, 4G to 5G. But today, access, although it's still a very much a focus of research, but I think it has widened to many other aspects as well. So when we're talking about digitalizations of industries and all aspects of life, we are talking about a lot of multidisciplinary approach towards research and development, technology development. So I believe this event today that we have is a good avenue for us to know each other and to deepen and to know and then deepen our collaborations. Today we also have our students showing their projects as well, either today or tomorrow, I'm not sure, but which is actually parallel with the peer review papers presentations, and more importantly the keynote speakers sharing know-how and whatever they are doing at the moment now with the participants. So I'm indeed very proud that we have this event organized today, which serves as a platform for us to get to know better of each other and also collaborate, right, to set up or establish new collaborations among the researchers and also maybe some of our students may be involved in some of these projects in the future. So I want to thank again once again your participation in this event, and encourage our visitors and participants to also take a look at the students' project. These are young people who has a lot of perhaps ideas and that need some feedback for them to fine-tune their ideas. So I wish all the students who are participating in this event today and tomorrow all the best to all of you, and I also wish all the participants to have a very fruitful sessions in the coming today and tomorrow sessions. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Lee. Now can we request Professor Lee stage as we proceed to officiate the launching ceremony of ICDXA 2024. I would like to invite Professor Engineer Dr. Li Ziwei, Theology Lim Sheng Hui, Associate Professor Dr. Chuan Yok, Professor Dr. Abdul from Suranaree University of Technology, and Dr. Dani from BINUS University for the launching ceremony. May I kindly request everyone to move 2 steps in front on the stage? I would like to invite the VIP on the stage to get ready for our official launch. Please cut at the right hand side. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, let's begin the countdown together. Ready? 3, 2, 1. Next, I would like to invite everyone to have a group photograph in this auditorium to mark the end of the opening ceremony. Ladies and gentlemen, for a memorable moment, I kindly request all of you to please move to the center of the auditorium to take a group photo together.
Hello, good morning everybody. Can I have some of the back ones to fill the seats in front so that we do not have like all the empty chairs here? Thank you very much. If it's okay, you all can just come. There's 4 seats in front here as well, 3 and 4 that side too. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Okay, so everybody, we'll look here first. Okay, we got 2 cameras. So we look at our mine first, right? Okay, everybody. Okay, 3, 2, 1, now. Another one. 3, 2, 1, now. Okay, can I get everybody to do a thumbs up for that? Woo! Nice. Okay, 3, 2, 1, now.
One more.
One more. More photos to the area.
Alright, here. Okay, thumbs up. Or you want peace? Peace.
Thank you, everyone. Now, we'll come to the end of the opening ceremony. Once again, join me in thanking Professor Engineer Dr. Lee Ziwei, President of Tunku Abdul Rahman University of Management and Technology. Alright, deans of our faculties, as well as speakers, sponsors, distinguished judges, senior officials, faculty members, and members from Students' Representative Council, Computer Science Society, Computer Networking and Security Society, and Alumni Association, as well as students, for their kind presence today. Thank you everyone for gracing us your presence. Wishing you all a pleasant day ahead. Ladies and gentlemen, it is now time for our keynote speaker sessions, and I'm honored to invite Mr. Kamaru from the Aerodyne Group to deliver his keynote speech. Mr. Kamaru is the founder and Group CEO of Aerodyne Group. He led Aerodyne from a 3-person startup in 2014 to a global company with a presence in 35 countries in just 6 years.
Great for it to be on the screen. It is, right? I'm very honored to be here this morning, and I'm given half an hour to talk and about 20 minutes of Q&A. So I'll be sharing about our experience of the past 10 years actually the profile just now was like 3 years old. Okay, so anyway, I'm going to talk about, title given to me is about building resilience through digital transformation. We have had quite a bit of experience in that as well. Although a lot of people know us as a drone company, in reality, what we really do is actually DX. We are a DX company. In fact, we call ourselves a DT3 company, which is drone tech, data tech, and digital transformation. At the end of the day, is that what we deliver to our customer is meaningful solution. So we call this, in Japanese, is Haya Yasui Umai Hansen. So translated in English is Japalang, that means faster, better, cheaper, safer. So if you want to deliver digital transformation, it's really about you delivering solutions that make business sense. Solutions that's faster, better, cheaper, and safer. Right, but the world today is changing. The world has been changing very, very fast. And the way it has been changing is at a pace that we have never seen before. Not only not in our lifetime, it's not something that we have seen over the past 100 years. So the pace of change is now very, very significant. And if you are not prepared for this, and we run the risk of being left behind. In fact, if you look at the world today, even the job that we have today, most of the job that we have today is going to be rendered irrelevant in just years to come. So if you look at this, for example, the half-life of jobs has shrunk significantly. If you look at the half-life of skill in tech, it's now only 2.5 years. So whatever that we know today, in 5 years is no longer relevant. In 2.5 years is already the half-life. So knowledge will change, energy will change, technology will change, and we also need to change as well. In fact, radically, if you look at the job that's available today, 14% of the jobs that we have today will be radically transformed, and 32% will be radically transformed, and 40% eliminated altogether. Over 1 billion jobs will be disrupted. So this is a big thing. I mean, you guys are students, you have your future in front of you, you really need to be thinking, how will you be creating value in the years to come? And what are these drivers of change? How things are changing? And I'm going to share with you 2 things that will make all of this impact as we go along. Number 1 is quantum technology. The future belongs to those that have mastery over quantum technology, and this is happening right now. Why so? Because the computing power will transform. If you think that what we have today is fast, once quantum technology comes on stream, it will transform the way things are done. I mean, in terms of quantum technology, it's also quantum communication. So if today you're working with a large amount of data, like I do, I mean, we work with terabytes, petabytes of data, it will take a very long time to transmit this data. Imagine a near future where any transfer of whatever large amount that you may have is in real time. Imagine, and that is just possible. It's already possible using quantum technology. Not too far away, it will become reality. So that's number 1. Number 2, what is going to drive this change is also AI. You know, AI, as you all know, has been changing significantly, but powering this AI is actually power. Our mastery over energy will change AI as well, and I'll go into details subsequently. So today, in terms of civilization, we are not even civilization type 1, we are civilization 0.7. What does it mean? It means that we get our energy today from our dead ancestors, oil and gas, right? So you get energy from there. So as we move toward harnessing the whole energy of the planet, and one time we will get the energy from the whole star, and we have a lot more power at our disposal. The more energy that we have, the more power that we have at our disposal, the more meaningful impact that we will see happening as well. And this is real. So I'm just talking about some of the change that is actually happening right now. I will go into AI towards the end. So right now, the change of energy is also really happening right now. You know, I think cold fusion is also not very far away. Once we reach cold fusion, we will reach civilization type 1. So this is called the Kardashev scale, Russian scientists that talk about how if we classify energy in this manner, that's a lot easier for us to frame in terms of civilization level as well. Again, I will not go into so much detail on that as well. But another one that we are seeing changing here as well is actually ourselves. We human also has been changing. So in the past, average lifetime, if you were to look at in the old days, in the Paleolithic era, it's only 22 years of age. Today, the average age is already 80 plus. Right? Just we go back just 50 years ago, it's like 50 plus. Right? So and in fact, people are already saying that the first modern human that would live to 200 years is already alive today because of advancements of technology, better healthcare, for example. And today we also are already looking at aging not as fate, but it's as a disease. There are knowledge now that where we can actually fix ourselves. We can do rejuvenation. It's already happening even today as we speak. So this is another thing that's happening today, why change is inevitable. And of course, I will come to AI. So today, most of the AI that we have today is actually ANI, artificial narrow intelligence. We will soon be getting artificial general intelligence. Some say it's going to be here with us anytime soon. And by the time we move to artificial super intelligence, things will change dramatically yet again. So all of this transformation is already happening right now. So what impact can and we shall see? I'm just going to frame at a very high level over here. So if we were to look at, even today, we are artificial narrow intelligence. We are already talking, scientists are already talking about, today the limit or the speed of us talking to our machine is just us typing. Now we can still start to talk about it as well. Talk to our machine so that it can process the data. Imagine in the near future, you think the computer understands already what you are thinking and you get your answer before you stop thinking. A thought that comes to you understands straight away. That's using something like Neuralink, where you can connect your brain directly to the machine. That is something that is being developed even right now. So with ANI, what will it take for us to become AGI? What will it take for us to become artificial super intelligence to be common in the industry as well? So again, in the limited time, if you want more insights into this, I can go into deeper explanation as well after this as well. But the most important thing that I would like to share is actually about quantum supremacy. I talked about quantum technology earlier. Once we achieve quantum supremacy, we will immediately go into artificial general intelligence. And artificial general intelligence then powered by quantum supremacy might lead us to super intelligence. Some say we are 50 years away, some say less than 150 years away, where we will get to super intelligence. So what does it mean to us, super intelligence? It means that transcendence. We may have Honda Lake, IBM brain in the near future, a merger between biological self and digital technology. So that is something, again, I'm seeing and I'm confident that it's something that is going to happen very, very soon. So the world as we know today is changing so fast. So that's preamble, setting the stage of what I'm going to be talking about. Now I'm going to be sharing what we have been doing as an organization. So we are a global digital transformation company, and we solve all kinds of challenges that you can see on the top, from geospatial to infrastructure to agriculture and so on and so forth. Let me just give you an example of how we work. So for example, in terms of critical infrastructure, we solve the problem of cost, problem of performance. We talk about labor, uplifting labor from doing non-meaningful stuff to doing things in a much better way. We solve the problem of sustainability as well. So from infrastructure to transportation to security to agriculture and so on and so forth. This is our footprint. This is where we are operating. We are a Malaysian company set up in 2015, so just slightly less than a decade old. Our HQ is here in Malaysia. We have another HQ in Dubai, and we are operating in 45 countries today. So what do we do? Today, this is the key focus area. Number one is infrastructure. Number two, surveillance, agriculture, and logistics. Let me talk a little bit about infrastructure. How does it impact the industry? As I talked about earlier, that digital transformation is about doing things faster, better, and cheaper. What I'm illustrating on the screen is that, for example, if we take at 01, when it comes to grid, This is where we can save 30% of the cost while accelerating the process by 400%. So how does it work? Traditional method, people will use helicopters, or people walking the ground and looking at all the power infrastructure. Using our methods, or rather our system, drone will fly automatically or in an autonomous system with AI powered on the vision, looking at the defects and predicting where and when defect will actually happen as well. All of this done very, very fast. In the past, for example, when you do at power line, you need to do thermal inspection, thermographer. So you need to have thermographer and do thermal imagery, and then you then need to analyze them as well. In one day, we process over 60,000 thermal images on average. And that will take 1 man-year to process. Now it's done in minutes using AI. We just pump the data into AI and we get the results almost immediately, basically within 15 minutes or so, compared to 1 man-year of data using the traditional methods. Right? And so on and so forth. I will not go into detail, but basically it's all about doing things faster, better, cheaper, and safer as well. Another example I want to highlight is for telco infrastructure. We do a lot of telco infrastructure management. And typically when you want to look at telco infrastructure, in the traditional method, somebody would climb and do an inspection, look at all the assets, measure the azimuth of every antennas and all that. That's the manual method. It will take you maybe 1 or 2 days to inspect, and then after that, you write the report, so within a week you will get that. Our technology, you'll get it in 4 hours. So drone will actually fly it, and then using computer vision, using various geospatial intelligence, we create a digital twin of those assets, then the AI kicks in and start analyzing, and you get the result. And we cut it short from 48 hours of manual process now down to 3 hours. Actually, 3 hours was like 1 year ago. Now it's like within minutes already by using AI. And of course, reducing the cost significantly as well. So that's critical infrastructure. Surveillance is another one. In Malaysia alone, since we are in Malaysia, the country loses about 10 billion every year due to illicit trade at the border. So we have our drones flying at the border. Number one, it already becomes prevention, because they know these drones become omnipresent. The smugglers know there are drones watching over them, and this has reduced significantly the challenges or the leakages at the border. And likewise, for example, Petronas has over 2,500 kilometers of pipeline. How do they manage this before? In the past, they would use helicopters. Now we have drone in the nest. We put our drone on location, and we also have sensors along the line, and if the sensors detect any movement, those drones will be sent automatically and to check out what is without having any human to get involved in the operation itself. So all fully automated digital system. This is how it works. Any detection at number one, message is sent to number two, drone will go in and check, equipped with computer vision to detect all of these potential issues. If there's no issue, then false alarm. If there's any issue, it will get escalated so that intervention can be executed. All fully autonomous system. We also use long-range drones that can fly over 100 kilometers at a time to actually then provide the same kind of inspection. Number three, the world population is growing. We do not produce enough food to feed the world as we move forward as well. So what we are doing at Aerodyne as well is use our technology to help solve the food security issue too. So we develop all kinds of services, from doing the mechanization of the activities. The drone will do the spraying, applying fertilizer. At the same time, we use all kinds of sensors and various kind of analytics that enable us to peer deep into every plant, every tree, every plantation, so that we understand the problem of those trees. We know the health of the trees. We know what is it deficient with. Do they have water deficiency? What is the level of chlorophyll and all that, so that we can actually do intervention smart way, the future way, rather than just praying for a good crop in every season. So this way we can do early intervention, and it's also again proven that we have been able to increase yield from 30, even 67% on one of our operations as well. And not ending there as well, but the same indices can also be used for geotechnical solutions as well. Landslide is a big issue. So in the past, you need a big team to actually do all of this analysis. Now this drone, equipped with multispectral and hyperspectral sensors, we can detect potential landslide before it actually happens. And at the same time, we provide ERP, in a way, we develop ERP for agriculture as well, allowing our customers to run their agriculture operations in a more effective manner as well. We also do large-scale modern farming. We have greenhouses. We target to have about 200 greenhouses by end of this year to produce food, healthy food. Purely no chemicals, everything is done in a healthy way as well. So that large modern farming is another thing that we do, transforming agriculture in Malaysia. All right, and of course, last one is logistics. I talked about logistics earlier, how this unmanned system, drone, big drone, what you're seeing on the screen can actually carry up to 150 kilograms. The big one is not ready yet. We are developing this. I think we are looking at going this for commercial in a year and a half from now. But we have the smaller one that is already being deployed globally. So again, I'm just giving some rough idea of the kind of work that we do. But I also want to bring some questions to everyone. Digital transformation, is it really about technology or is it about talent? So I've been talking about technology, but in the study published by Harvard Business Review, it says that 70% of all digital transformation actually fail to achieve its goal. And the answer of that is that it's not really about technology as well, it's really about people. So that's another aspect of this that we really need to be thinking about as well. Out of 1.1 trillion spent in 2018, 900 billion was wasted. You can read about this in Harvard Business Review. You can search and you will find this as well. Right? So again, digital transformation is not just about technology, but about us, about people as well. We need to drive them. Technology is only the enabler, but we really need to drive to make things happen as well. So why is it talent? Because tech really provides possibility. We are the enabler. And the drive and agility to make this happen is as important. And of course, the main thing also is the right fit. When we do transformation, it's not really just for transformation's sake, but the approach and what is it that we are doing is also equally important. And sometimes you would face a lot of resistance as well. When you want to change. People do not like to change naturally, so that's something important for us to look at as well. In fact, speaking of which, Einstein said we cannot solve our problem that we have today using the same mindset that created the problem in the first place, so we have to think differently. Last slide is really about doing this change. How do we make this change happen? Just food for thoughts. Basically, the thinking part is at the top there. You can see that the neocortex is where we do all the thinking. We have this problem, and this is a problem that we all face. And this guy over here is called the RAS, the reticular activating system, that actually stops information going to our brain. So most of the time we don't think. I'm serious. Most of the time we don't. Why? Because the brain itself, our brain, is only 2% of body mass, but it uses 20% of the energy. So it's the body mechanism to actually make us think less. Otherwise we get there. So for that, it actually created this gatekeeper, the reticular activating system. So with this, a lot of the things that goes to our brain get rejected. Can't we get rejected? So what we need to do is to reprogram this RAS. I'm just setting the stage. I'm sure you can research more and learn about it. I learned about this many years ago. That's why I'm pushing myself to think every single day. And believe it, it works. Because this is the way things happen around us as well. In fact, 95% of our lives are running on autopilot because of this RAS, reticular activating system. And it is being pre-programmed at birth. The first 7 years of our life is already being pre-programmed. So we need to reprogram this RAS. Again, I will not go into detail, but just a high-level overview on how do we reprogram this RAS. This is it. We need to stop fixing. We need to do things differently. We need to have clear goals and purpose. We need to visualize success. How do we need to go there? And we need to challenge the limiting beliefs that is already been pre-programmed. Yet I don't have time to go into detail, but it's something that we do a lot within our organization. And most importantly, we need to take action. Okay, I have another 7 more minutes. I'm going to talk about transformation within the company itself. So we do a lot of transformation internally as well to improve performance as well. So this example of operational transformation that we do. Just now I talked about what kind of digital transformation that we do outside. These are some of the transformation that we do internally within our organization as well. We have performance, all digital performance management. We have we have a real-time productivity tracker within the organization. Fleet management, we have hundreds of vehicles around the country. In real time, I know where we are. The system actually look at the utilization of vehicles. We track our asset. All of this again, transforming our whole operation from manual, having a manager that manages it. Now it's all running on the dashboard, where I actually can see. Not just me, I mean basically the managers can see this as well. All right, okay, so that's a very brief, quick introduction on my take on digital transformation. In summary, number one, digital transformation, despite its name, is really about people. It's really about us changing our mindset, getting the buy-in from everybody. Then, once we get that buy-in, is really about pushing it, making it happen with the technology that we develop. All right, thank you very much, and now open to Q&A.
It's now time for our Q&A session. Please raise up your hand.
Thank you. Thank you. My name is Rahman from New Zealand. I used to live in Auckland and also recently visited our dear speaker, Professor Kamaru. Give a round of applause to the Professor. As an accountant myself, old school accountant, Mr. Kamaru is a new school accountant turned entrepreneur. I think he is not only a very good, thinker. From the short interaction I had with a professor about a year ago when I visited the office, it is mind-blowing. So today is a refresher of what I think a very proud entrepreneur of Malaysia, soon to be a unicorn in the industry. It's very good. Yeah, you could be the next Alexander, one of scale AI or combination of the brain of Bill Gates or Michael Dell, etc. It's truly the case, not an overstatement. For those who do not know Mr. Kamaru, my friend here is the EY Year of the Year and more than $1 billion net asset. Give him a round of applause. Thank you. Okay, I think it's mind-blowing. I don't have to comment. Most of the academicians here, most of my friends here, could also catch the fever that the years to come is not only machine learning, AI, autonomous driving. It is how we can how we can benefit from the transformation ourselves. Not only financially but knowledge. So today's knowledge sharing, I think, is very good, very good. Thank you, sir, for all the sharing. I'm sure the audience will agree with me that credit must be due when it's due. Thank you so much.
Good morning. Just a simple question, I suppose. So, what is it like actually starting your company and doing work together with so many international entities? How is the regulations? How do you actually navigate through all of that, especially with AI nowadays? Thank you very much.
Well, thank you. I mean, it didn't happen overnight. It took a very long time. In fact, the first 5 years was just in Malaysia. We were focusing in Malaysia, and when we are ready, we first went to Australia, and then Australia works. We still have Australia working very well with us right now. Then we started to expand directly to begin with, and after a while, we changed our strategy. Initially, we went in directly, and we set up operations in Australia, set up operations in Dubai, and so on and so forth. But over the past 3.5 years, we have completed 21 M&As, merger and acquisition. So we did that for the sole reason that we needed to have strong local partners in respective countries and regions where we are operating, so that they are invested in our technology, have the same vision as ours as well. So we hunt for companies like us in those respective countries. And because our industry is still a new industry, drone solutions provider is still a new industry, hence it's growing slowly, but it's not mega industry yet. You know, when I started in 2014, I read a paper by PwC called Clarity from Above, and it predicted that the industry is going to be worth 120 billion by 2020. Today is 2024. I don't see even half that size yet. Right? So which is fine. I think people can crystal ball do some prediction, but I still believe in the technology. I still believe in the fact that this technology can provide meaningful result. I think the challenge is only just adoption has been a little bit slower. So what we have done, and this to answer your question, how is it like? So I think in any endeavor, in any entrepreneurial journey, you have to adapt and adopt new things. If you look at successful corporations, you look at Sony from Japan. They started off fixing electronic things. Today they are multi-vertical, multi-conglomerate. I mean, from entertainment to devices. Look at Samsung. Started off selling fish. Right? I'm using Samsung phone. I have all Samsung TV and iPad, tablets and all that. So likewise, you have to change. Just like we talked about change earlier, we have changed significantly. When we started off as drone service provider, because I thought that was sexy, drone service provider. In reality, 3 years later, I thought, actually it's the lowest in the value chain. Then I realized the highest value in the value chain is really technology. So as of 2020, we decided internally that we need to be a deep tech company. Then I started hiring scientists. I have really, really smart guys in my organization today. I have top agri scientists with me. I have, I don't want to go into detail, but we have smart people working for everyone. And I don't just source from Malaysia. We have good talent from all over the world. I hire scientists from the States. I hire scientists from even Japan, and from many, many places. And as we do all of this M&A, you see, when you want to build solutions to the world, sometimes researchers end up pushing the limit of knowledge, but how do you actually have meaningful impact? So that's why we work from the other way around. We define the problem first. So we go in, when we talk to our partners globally, we look at what are the problems, and we try and solve those meaningful problems. So for example, agriculture, we see that the productivity, the yield of agriculture in Malaysia first, when we started in 2019, is low. It can go a lot higher. And intervention and labor is a big issue as well. So we solve this then by providing mechanization, using our drone for mechanization. Then we push for the innovation as well. We develop further. There's some IPs already for multispectral and hyperspectral indices. It's already available out there. But we push the limit even further. Now, so we had our own researchers internally commercializing those knowledge. So today, for example, as our drone fly, we can tell in real time what is the condition, not just the farm, every individual tree. I'm sure there's a lot of durian lover in here. Can I have a show of hands? How many people love durian? I love durian story. I cannot stand the smell, just like Masali. Doesn't sound right. Okay, but anyway, so now in durian tree, as our drones are flying, we can tell every individual trees whether it's actually healthy or not. In fact, it's proven many, many times. So one time during validation for one of the largest durian plantation in Malaysia, our drone came up with a report, and we can give them the exact trees that in our analysis, it will die within 3 months. So when we share this data to our customer, they will laugh at us. Your data, no, it's rubbish. They say, okay, let's see what it looks. Because I've not seen it myself. My scientists also have not been on the ground. We just based on the data itself. So we went to the ground. We want to validate our data as well. If we are proven wrong, we'll be very embarrassed. But the data tells us otherwise. There's something wrong with that tree. Lo and behold, true enough, we went to the site. The trees look very, very healthy. You see, so I look at my CTO, Doc, we are screwed. But then we did further analysis. Then we look at it, yeah. Then we see some traces of problem when we compare to the surrounding. Then we did further investigation. And when we look at it, the roots are already cut. Because lorries and trucks has been driving across the roads. Then you got the answer there already. So we are predicting that this tree will die within the next couple of months because it's already not taking enough water. Something that you cannot even see. But our data, the analysis is already shown. Now the customer is one of our largest customers. From a non-believer to a big believer of the technology as well. So what is it like? To answer your question earlier, it's about grit and determination. So every organization will go through 3 different phases. You know, during the startup stage, it's really about high risk, taking a risk, and just go ahead and do. Actually, it's encapsulated in this formula. I will talk about it shortly afterwards. Right? This is what we call the Aerodyne way, the formula on how we function as an organization. So anyway, every organization would go through 3 stages. Number 1, what I call is the startup stage. After that, you go through a scale-up stage. And the 3rd stage is when you sail-out stage. So the thinking and philosophy, because I'm hoping to see a lot more startup founders in the hall today. So we would go through 3 stages within our journey. And every stage would require different kind of thinking, different mindset. So at startup stage, it's really about taking risks. It's okay for you to fail. Who cares? You fail, you go on to your next idea, try again. You need to have that experimentation, you know, searching for the right thing for you as well. So startup stage, go ahead. Don't be afraid to fail because you are meant to fail. Fail early is fine, and then move on to the next thing. So that is startup stage. But once you find the right thing, then you can start to go into the scale-up stage. So scale-up stage, if startup stage just now is like you going through the jungle. You don't know what's around the corner. You know, it could be a snake or tiger ready to pound on you, and you carry a lot of things on your backpack. You have your machete, you have your Maggie mee, right, students? Probably. You have your Maggie mee, you have all kinds of your lighter and all that. Because all of these things is important to equip you to survive. Right? Then in the 2nd stage is for you to scale up the mountain. You see the peak. Now your North Star is become clearer. When you are in the jungle, you do not know where you're going. Scale up stage is you can see the peak of the mountain or what you need to do. How do you get there? Number 1, you need teamwork. You cannot climb a mountain alone, except some crazy dude, they can do it alone. Right? But most of the time, you will need a team. So you need to build yourself a team. Then you need to have structure, you need to have system. You need to have the rope, you need to have carabiner, you need to have all kinds of things for you to do that. So you work as a team for you to go out there. Right? So that's 2nd stage. And you have to be light, because now light and nimble compared to the 1st stage. So you go to, once you go to scale up stage, you go to the final stage of any corporation, which is the sail away or sail up stage. Here you already have a big ship. You can weather any storm, but you move slowly. Big ship takes half an hour, 45 minutes to turn. Right? So you have to have different mindset at every step of the journey. Thanks.
What about the red line? We have not gone through the red lines.
Okay, this one. All right. Okay. So this is actually the story about transforming people. Remember we talked about digital transformation, that it is actually about people. Technology is important, you need to have both. This is how we did people transformation within our organization. How we transform people. And the way to transform, number 1 is to have what we call management by purpose. It's very important to get the buy-in from all people within your organization. I'm sure health would have the same thing as well. Everyone is aware of what the company is doing. So purpose-driven organization succeed. Because then everyone run their own division by themselves. That's purpose-driven. Right? So, and of course a lot of other things as well. How do we make sure that the whole organization is united? How do we make sure that the whole organization we have this thing in Aerodyne, in our organization, we call it 1V 99A. What does it mean? We always talk about vision and all that, but for us, vision is only just 1%, 1V. 1% vision, 99% of the effort is really about alignment and alignment and alignment and all that. So this is really about that. So alpha, what you see over there, is, you can see my mouse in fact. Alpha is our formula for value creation. How do we create value within our organization? I suggest all of you to find your own formula for your own organization. What do you do? So here we encapsulate this into one formula. So alpha is our formula for value creation. DT3 is what we do, which is drone tech, data tech, and digital transformation. That's DT2. Sorry, DT3. WC4, this is a little bit detailed, but I will go at high level. WC stands for world class. How do you achieve world class? So for us, there are 4 pillars to world class. That's why it's WC to the power of 4. What is world class? It's actually written there. DTR is doing things right. How do we make sure that we have people in the organization are focused on doing things right, on budget, on time, every time? You know? So that's DTR, doing things right. But number 2 is the toughest one, which is DTRT, doing the right thing. And this is where most companies fail. How do we make sure you have the right resource? How do we make sure that we put the right resource at the right place? That is DTRT. Okay, very high level. We can go into SS is innovation. SS stands for shapeshifter. It's actually about culture of innovation. How do you inculcate a culture of innovation within your organization? And last but not least is identity. Every organization must have your own identity. Maybe afterwards I can learn about what's the identity of this university as well. So every organization have your own identity. Our identity is this, NFNDJD. No fuss, no drama, just deliver. Right? So it is a culture of customer centricity. So whatever we do, we are deeply focused on our customer. Right? So that's that, and of course P3 is people, planet, profit. Whatever we do, we have to do in a sustainable manner. And the power of N, Japanese call it Kaizen, I call it the power of small things. So for me, N is 1% improvement per day. So if you do 1.01 to the power of 1.01 to the power of 365, if you do 1% daily, 37. So we can be 3,700% better by year end if we just improve 1%. That's the ultimate limit. But if we can do 10 times, 20 times annually, it's actually good enough as well. But it's a power of that you want to put in your team, in the mindset that we need to have this constant, continuous improvement as well. I call this the power of small things, small change. Just do small change then, and we can get it. All right? So that's it. That's the formula. The gentleman just now asked about the logo. That's our logo. That logo actually defines this formula. You know, the formula is actually also in the logo, which I will explain one by one to you. So if you are interested.
So are you onto the Six Sigma no defects management?
Yeah, it's actually similar. I mean, I've gone through a Six Sigma process as well. In fact, I was an advisor of Six Sigma for Petronas for a while as well. Value-based management. So what I have today is actually combining all my previous management experience of various companies that I advised before as well. And actually, like was mentioned before, I'm a John professor of practice in several universities. I talk about leadership as well. This is how I put things together within my organization. So, all right, thank you. Maybe we have time for 1 or 2 more questions.
I have a question about leadership. During like when you expand multinational and before that local, how do you know based on besides the CV, how do you know this leader is capable to be consistent and not become comfort zone in the new company with a good pay or maybe increase 20% from a previous company. So how do you make the vision is continuous and to align with your company target?
Great question. In fact, it is actually one of the toughest challenge, and I'm glad to sort of report out of the 21 investment that we have done, 19 works very well. Only 2 that we ultimately divest out again. But we have, when we divest, it's a win-win for both of us. We structure it in such a way. I mean, it doesn't always work. When you get married, it doesn't always work as well, right? So in our case, the track record has been quite good. Out of the 21, 19 has been very successful. 5 have been super successful. How so? Super successful in the sense that just within 2 years, they grew 50x within 2 years, being part of the group. So to answer your question, how do we do this? So again, oftentimes, it's not really just about they are competent, to have the right competency of mindset, because most of them do. So when we invest in all these companies, they are already highly successful as well. It's really about compatibility of culture. So a lot of the time we look into that. So how do we make sure that we get that cultural compatibility? The good news is that it's also aligned with my other interests, which is travel. I love travel. I've been to over 100 and almost 130 countries around the world. So when we do this, I actually spend time with the CEOs of those countries as well. We go out, we go hiking together, we go, last year we went to Torres del Paine, one of the most beautiful places, with my partner from the region. So I just came back from the National Park of America in December, again going through all this journey with my partners in the US as well. So when you do this, you really get to know your partner very well. If you meet them in the office, it's very different when you walk with them, you go with them, you play golf together, although I don't really play that much golf. That's actually it. It's really about understanding, going to their houses, get them to, they invite us to their houses, you have barbecue together, meet their parents, meet their wife. So then you know, okay, this is the partner that you really want to work with. So it's not mechanical, it's very biological. It's really about that relationship. Thanks. Maybe one last question.
I suppose you mentioned a lot about energy, so like how much energy these servers and AI actually use. So are there any current challenges towards that, and how do you actually mitigate and prepare for all these changes that you have to do later as AI becomes stronger and more energy consuming? Thank you.
No, when I talk about energy, I was alluding to the fact that civilization progress comes from the mastery of technology that the civilization had. So if you were to go back to the days of cowboys, people riding horses and all that, right? So basically what do they have? 1 horsepower, right? So with the energy that they have at that time, so they are limited in terms of innovation. Then people start to use steam powered, then you started to have like, on average about 20, 30 kind of horsepower immediately. So we talk about energy here. I'm talking about once we, for example, cold fusion become, happens maybe in just a year or 2 from now, tokamak, it's been tested now in many places around the world today. Then suddenly we have energy at our disposal to power our computers, to cover our engine, our motors, our space explorations and all that. So we have energy that it will lead to greater innovation. If the old days, the heroes of the Wild Wild West have 1 horsepower, today housewives also have 200 horsepower in their cars. Right? Not that housewife don't deserve it, but the whole idea is that once we have energy at our disposal, we can do a lot more things. It is actually from that angle. Okay.
Thank you so much, Mr. Kamaru. Next, it is my pleasure to introduce our next keynote speaker, Professor Noboru Koshichuka. He is currently a professor at the University of Tokyo, Japan. In addition to his academic pursuit, Professor holds the esteemed positions of the Chair of Data Society Alliance and International Data Spaces Association's Japan Hub Coordinator.
Yeah, thank you very much for the introduction. My name is Noboru Koshizuka, professor of the University of Tokyo. So I'm the chair of the Data Society Alliance and also the ICDXA Hub Coordinator Japan. And so I'm from the University of Tokyo, and most of you don't know about the University of Tokyo. And my university, the University of Tokyo, is the oldest university in Japan, and also maybe I believe that it's the best university in Japan. And my organization is Computer Science Digital Technology Studies, the graduate school of the digital technology and also information and communication technologies. And I have leading the many projects in Japan. I am a professor of the University of Tokyo and also the chair of Data Society Alliance. Data Society Alliance is an organization that doing the project of the data infrastructure, establishing the data infrastructure in Japan. And also the IDSA, International Data Society, the International Data Space Association. It's a German organization of the data infrastructure. I am now managing the Japan Hub in this IDSA initiative. And also I am directing the Smart City project and with data project and the green digital carbon neutral project, and also AI project, industrial data management project, and also many projects. And also I have many relationship with the government. For example, the left side is the national government and the right side is the local government in Japan. And I am an advisor of the many government organization, for example, Cabinet Office, Digital Agency, Ministry of Information and Communication, and Ministry of Economics, and many. And also I am an advisor of Tokyo Metropolitan Government, Yokosuka City, which has many cities for digital technology and data-driven initiatives. And today my talk is focusing on the data. So because I believe that now, today is the era of data. Because the amount of data is now increasing in an exponential manner. I think now is So I think that we are now the middle stage of the data increase. But in the future, the amount of the data will increase very much in this kind of exponential manner. And more important things is many of the recent well-known innovations are all data-driven. So for example, data transformation, digitalization, I think the data is the most important issue in these activities. And the first topic is the background, especially for Japanese Society 5.0. This is the Japan vision of future digitalized society. So Society 5.0, so we have a Society 1.0, 2.0, and Society 1.0 is a hunting and gathering society. And Society 2.0 is the agricultural society. And society 3.0 is industrial, and society 4.0 is information society. And now we, Japan, aiming the new society, society 5.0. So what is a society 5.0? In Japan vision, the society 5.0 is a cyber physical world. Not only the data technology, but also the physical world is very important. So we would like to connect the cyber world and the physical world tightly. We would like to connect with each other. So from the point of view of data, cyber world data for internet, such kind of data is also very important. And also we think that the data of the physical world is very, 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 very important. And also the Japan new vision of the data spaces is DFFT, data free flow with trust. So data will flow all over the world, beyond the countries. But so data will circulate very freely. But we need trust. Trust is very important for the data flow. So Japan vision of data space is the DFFT, data free flow with trust. So my main topic is that today, present is the era of data. Because we want to see the history of the digital technology. I think that digital technology, when digital technology has started, I think it's an invention of computer. It's an invention of computer. The computer was invented about 1937 or 1940, around that. About World War II. So, at the time, the computer was invented in the United States. And the first computer is ABC, because the ABC computer was developed by Professor Atanasofu and Professor Berry. So Atanasofu Berry computer. So ABC is the first computer in the world. It was invented in 1937. And I think that each 20 years, the technology trends are changing very much. For example, the first 20 years, for example, the 1940 to 1960, first 20 years, it's the beginning of the digital technology, the beginning of computer. And after 20 years, the 1960s, 1970s, there's a time it's an era of the mainframe computer. Very big, large computer is the major technology at that time. And most important company leading this mainframe computer is, for example, the IBM or digital or equipment. Tech is a very, very famous company, and this company are leading the mainframe computer technologies and industries. And after 20 years, the mainframe computer. So other times, everyone thinks that the IBM is the leader of the digital technology. Everyone thinks. But after 20 years, 1980s, the era changed. The era changed into the microcomputer. I think that the 1980s is the era of microcomputer. In this age, Microsoft and Intel and Apple Computer, Motorola, such kind of company are very, very important, and they are leading the digital technology. And more after 20 years, the technology completely changed into the internet. So mainframe computer to microcomputers, then internet. So after 2000, it's the era of the internet. So in this era, for example, in case of companies, Google, Facebook, Amazon, such kind of GAFA, or in China, the BAT, such kind of internet big company are very, very important and leading the digital technology. But now is 2020s, this year, 2024. So it takes about more 20 years after the beginning of the era of the internet. So I think that the technology and the trend will change very much recently, we believe. So what is the era of these days? I think we believe that these 2020s are the era of the data, era of the IoT, Internet of Things, and the era of artificial intelligence, or era of the space. But I think that I believe that data is the most important technology or initiative or issue in this digital technologies. So let's see the example of data-driven innovation. This example all in Japan. For example, the left side is contracts. It's a construction, data-driven construction technology by Komatsu Corporation, and smart agriculture, and smart industry, and smart wholesale, and smart rubbish collection or welfare. There are many applications for the data-driven application. So in this slide, the left side is medical application, the business optimization, and the smart maintenance of infrastructure, and healthcare, and smart logistics, and the smart building, smart house, all data-driven. So one more example for tourist support, transportation, and assistive technology. So in case of Japan, there are so many data-driven applications. So now the industry and very much using the data. So now in the era of data, so we would like to share or circulate or distribute such kind of important data. So it's a concept of the data space or our data free flow with trust. So now is the era of data. So data is so important. So if data is so important, everyone or many people thinking that data is so important, so data should be enclosed in company or in university. Is that a very normal case? So for example, the A corporation, B corporation, C corporation, all disclose their own data. So do not export outside of the company. So in case of Japan or in case of the world, there are so many silos of data. Data is enclosed in the organization. Do not export to other companies. But we want to disclose this data and share with each other is very important for the world and for the industry. So we need a data platform among the corporation or companies is very important. So I think now the era of the data, so many organizations are very competitive for establishing the infrastructure for data sharing or data distribution, so data platform. For example, the left side of this slide showing the logo of company of the era of the internet. On the right side is the logo of the company, organization that are now establishing the data platform for the data distribution or data sharing. For example, the ICDXA is a leading organization for such kind of data infrastructure, and also DataEX is a Japan initiative. I would like to talk about the DataEX later. And India Stack is a data initiative in India. And the GaiaX, CatanaX are also the initiative in Europe. And Fireware is a project of the open source software for the data spaces. And BBX or Singapore SG Trades, United States NIM, all initiative for establishing the data infrastructure for data sharing or data distribution. So I think that in the era of internet, the cooperative area, the basic infrastructure is the internet. I think internet. Over the internet, there are many business sectors, such as the biggest one is Google and Microsoft and the Apple Computer, Facebook. Such kind of GAFA companies are all doing business over the internet, cooperative layer. But now I think the internet is the infrastructure for exchanging the message by using the packet technology. But internet is the abstraction layer, abstraction of the function of internet is a little bit lower now. So we need a more abstract or more sophisticated infrastructure, data infrastructure. I think it's a data layer infrastructure, it's a data space or data platform is necessary for the cooperative layer for the digital business or digital application services. So we need to establish the data infrastructure or data space initiative is necessary. So next I would like to talk about the current status of the data initiative in Japan. In Japan, we have many data initiatives now. And this slide shows the whole picture of the Japan situation of the data platform initiative. We can divide them into three layers. First layer is application domestic, application specific data platform, and the final layer is domain independent and cross-domain data infrastructure. And we have also the second layer, the half domain specific and half cross-domain. And for example, the domain specific data sharing platform, the domain specific data space, we have many one. For example, the data GoJP, this is a national government open data platform. And IOP is the Internet of Plants. It's a data infrastructure for agriculture. The TDPF is the Tokyo Metropolitan Government data platform, and public transformation data platform, and industry in manufacturing data platform, and academic one, and artificial intelligence data platform, and the space data platform. And we have many data initiatives in Japan. For example, this is a national government open data platform, the data GovJP. This has started about 10 years ago, and now there are more than 22,000 data sets are opened using this platform. And in case of Japan, there are many local governments in Japan, 1,700 local governments, and about 81% of the local government have a data platform for opening government open data. And this slide shows a data platform for the public transportation open data, and this is the Ivory Industrial Value Chain Initiative, the data platform connecting the manufactories. And this is a plateau, this is a 3D urban data platform for Japanese land, and SIP4D is a data platform for disaster prevention and disaster reduction. And WAGRI is a data platform for data-driven agriculture. And this is a Green by Digital Consortium, JETA. This is a platform for the CO2 or greenhouse gas emission calculation for the green society. And this is a Tokyo data platform, the data platform for the Tokyo Metropolitan Government, and this is the Orden. Orden is a data platform for Osaka. Osaka and Tokyo is the two biggest cities in Japan, and this is a data platform for Osaka Prefecture and Osaka City. So this is the first layer. First layer means is domain specific. Domain specific means the data platform for agriculture or data platform for industry. For all domain is fixed for each data spaces. So second layer is half domain specific, but half cross-domain data sharing. Now in Japan, we have three kinds of second layer data sharing platform. First one is Uranos ecosystem. This is developed by METI. METI is the Ministry of Economics and Trade and Industry. And the left side, the lower one, is MLIT data platform. This is a data platform for Ministry of Land and infrastructure and transportation. And the right side is this is my project, Japan Mobility Data Spaces. So these data spaces are federating the many data platforms relating to the mobility. For example, public transportation or car, automobiles, and infrastructure data or many kinds of data spaces are federated into this Japan Mobility Data Spaces. And the third layer, final layer, this is in Japan. In case of Japan, the only cross-domain, all over the Japan cross-domain data sharing platform, data space, is Data EX. This is my project, and my organization, Data Society Alliance, is developing this Data EX and will operate Data EX in the future. And this is the organization, DSA, Data Society Alliance. That's an organization leading the Data EX. And Data EX is a collective name of the effort of the Data Society Alliance to realize cross-domain data exchange platform. And the ultimate vision of our Data EX is to establish this kind of Japan data space. They're all over the Japan data space. The only national level cross-domain industry data platform is our ultimate goal. And in this Data EX, so as I said before, in Japan there are many domain-specific data platforms in Japan. So to establish Data EX, we will federate all of them into the Data EX. So federation technology or federation architecture of the data platform is very important. So we are using the connector technology. I think connector technology is the main technology, major technology of the, for example, the IDSA and also our Japan DSA are providing the connector technology. So if some domain-specific data platform have a data center or a database, so if they impose a connector module, very small module into their platform, they can connect to the Data EX data spaces very easily. So such kind of using the connector technology, we would like to federate all the domain-specific existing local data platform. So this is the organization of our data society, DSA. Now we have more than 100 companies and about 100 local organizations as a member of our DSA. And as you can see that many big companies in Japan and also in United States or in Europe are member of our DSA. And I am a chairperson of this DSA. And DSA thinks that connector technology is very, very important. And I'm from the University of Tokyo, and the University of Tokyo and the DSA are collaborating very closely. And the University of Tokyo and the DSA now have a very active project for the international data space technology testbed. For example, in case of Japan, we have provide a connector software module for the federation of the data space. JADE is the name of the open source software, and we are providing this open source software using GitHub portal site. This URL is our open source software website, and also the GitHub. Using GitHub, we are issuing external specification, API specification of this JAD 4.0 is a connector-based software components. And in the University of Tokyo, now we are the IDSA Japan Hub or IDSA Research Laboratory Japan. Now developing the international data space technology testbed. In this testbed, every engineer can freely try to use data space technology in our university or in DSA. And in this test bed, the Japan software module set software components, JADE, are already running in this test bed. And also IDSA technology, for example, the Eclipse data connector are running in our test bed. And also firmware software are already running in our test bed. So in our test bed, our Japanese JAD connector and Eclipse connector of the IDSA and firmware connector are all running in this test bed. And we can freely try all of these three kind of technology. And also we can try the interoperability between Japanese JAD test bed and Germany IDSA Eclipse data technology and firmware technology. We can try the interoperability among them. So, for example, the JAD 4.0 is running in our test bed. And also now we have studied the new educational and training project in Japan, the data science training program, in collaboration with the University of Tokyo and the IDSA Research Hub Japan. And this is a 5-part this data science training program. The basics of data technology and data generation or data production technology and the data distribution, data sharing technology and the usage one. And also, not only technology, but also the governance, data governance, or data trading the market, and the rule making and the policy making. Such kind of the governance point of view is a very important issue. So we are developing the data-driven society educational training set. So this is an example of the web-based data science training program in Japan. And lastly, I would like to talk about the international collaboration of data issues. Last year, November 2023, IDSA and our DSA and University of Tokyo have a MOU and established the IDSA Japan Hub. The IDSA Japan have two functions. The IDSA Hub Coordinator Japan and also IDSA Research Laboratory in Japan. IDSA Hub is a little bit political and industrial issue, and IDSA Research Laboratory dealing with more academic and technology-oriented issues. And this is the photo from the last year, the Data Discovery Day in Tokyo inauguration event in Tokyo. And this is a panel session in this event. And also we have many collaboration with many organizations of many countries. We have Fireware Foundation, IDSA, and also Gaia X. We have a MOU among these organizations and making international collaboration. I think that now, tomorrow in this university will establish a new IDSA hub in Malaysia tomorrow, and I think that new data space initiative will start in Malaysia. So we, Japan, Data Society Alliance and the University of Tokyo are very strongly wanting to have a strong collaboration with Malaysian data space initiatives. And so international collaboration is very, very important because data will flow beyond the countries, beyond the border of the countries, all over the world. But now, if we have international collaboration, it's a one-to-one collaboration because, for example, our collaboration with Japan and the IDSA, it's Japan and Germany, one-to-one collaboration. And if we can start a collaboration with Japan and Malaysia, it's also the Japan-Malaysia one-to-one collaboration. So this kind of one-to-one collaboration is very, very important. But now the initiative of data spaces are growing very much. So many countries and many organizations have an initiative for data spaces. So this kind of one-to-one approach is a little bit difficult because the number of countries are very large. So in the future, we need international DFFT platform. Such kind of hub is necessary. It's an international organization for data spaces. So if we can establish this kind of organization, or many countries are connecting to international platform or a member of this platform, and the data spaces all over the world is established in this case. So now, last year, G7 Digital and Technology Ministry Summit have held in Japan, and the G7 minister has been agreed that to establish an international organization for the data governance or data flow or data platform with trust in the world. So now we are doing the very important activity, OECD, to realize this international data organization. And also finally, so I think that tomorrow ICDXA will establish in this university DECS. So if this is my wish, if we can make a collaboration. For example, in Japan, we have this year we have an event, Data Society, Data Space Discovery Day, Tokyo, and so we would like to collaborate with each other this kind of event, and we would like to invite the Malaysian people to the keynote speaker in our conference. And we would like to have a joint project of the data space testbed between Malaysia and Japan, and also we would like to have a joint development of data space training and education program. If we can, in this kind of collaboration, we are very happy. So this is the last of my talk. So the lastly, I'd like to say congratulations of the establishment and new ideas have in this Malaysia, and also we hope we, Japan and Malaysia, have a good collaboration on this data initiative. Thank you very much.
It is now for all the audience to ask the questions. Please raise up your hand if you have any questions.
Yeah, I want to ask one question. So, because Japan has many manufacturing industry, and many of them are in industry 3.0. What is the comment and feedback from the manufacturing industry in Japan about the data spaces?
Sorry, what is that?
What is in Japan's manufacturing industry acceptance of the data spaces in Japan?
I think that in Japan, industry is very active for the data space activity. But in industry, there are many areas, and but now is the most active one is automobile companies, because last year in Europe, the new battery regulation for EV, so industrial battery regulation will start 2 years after. So we need a supply chain data platform is necessary in these 2 years. So now we are rushing to develop such kind of so the automobile company are very active and very interested in space technology. And we are collaborating with this issue with IDSA and also the Catena X. Catena X is also very important organization for the supply chain data platform for the automobile industrial field. And the second one is not the industry, but the public transportation or such kind of mobility. Well, mobility, the automobile company are very related to the mobility society, but the mobility, the public transportation, railway and bus and taxi and transportation, and also the automatic driving and infrastructure of road and so such kind of infrastructure. All the mobility area. So the automobile and the battery and such kind of the mobility area is very active for the data space initiative involving.
Okay, thank you, Prof. Kosiska, for your interesting sharing. Before I ask questions to Prof. Kosiska, let me introduce myself. I'm Dr. Wong. I'm the Vice Chair for this conference also. Okay, I'd like to take this opportunity and also to apologize to some of my invited guests because I was too busy in the morning because most of the guests are coming at the same time, so I didn't manage to attend to all of you. Okay. All right. Now come back to my questions to Prof. Kosiska. Actually, I have two questions. One will be a bit lighter, and then the second one may be a bit serious. Okay. Let me go for the first questions. Can you go back to your slide? Probably 15 or 16, I cannot remember. It's talking about the applications of data, right?
Yeah, it's that.
Oh, yeah, that was on the 15, I think. 15. 16 or 15? 16. With the hand, maybe the next one, 17 or next one. Maybe no. Go again. So, there is one with the this one. Okay. Okay. A question related to the applications of data in the areas of smart buildings or smart houses. Right. I saw one very interesting this screenshot. It's talking about a cocktail called Hawaii cocktail. So I'm just wondering. How it is linked to this smart building?
So the smart building, the data is very related to the energy saving. So in smart building, the most important point may be very useful and the high quality services is the ultimate goal of the smart building. But for example, many people are very boring for the new service, but many people are very interested for cost saving or the energy saving. So I think ultimately the smart building, smart house, the energy saving is the most important point. In case from the point of view of the data driven of the smart building, the energy saving is very. So this picture shows the energy monitoring and advising how to save energy in the house and in this building. Such kind of guidance is shown in this slide.
Okay, but I still cannot. There's a link to the Hawaii's cocktail. All right, that was okay. Prof, I have another questions. We know that for the initiative from this International Data Spaces Associations, is basically data sharing ecosystem that very much emphasize on data sovereignty, right? So we should be able to control the data that we want to share with others, right? So for data X, what is the approach taken for this data sovereignty? I think sometimes it's quite difficult for us to actually have a full control on the data that we already share out to others, especially when the data goes to the hands of the data consumers. It's up to them on how to use it. Sometimes it's very difficult to control. Okay, after that, so approach at this data X for this issue.
So, in data EX, we also think that data sovereignty is very important, and the Japanese company needs data sovereignty because if in normal case or previously, if we establish a data platform, we will have a very big database, and please your company data export to our database, and that kind of collective approach is a very normal case. But many companies do not like this approach because this data is our company data. So we do not want to give this data to other site. So the platform or the fundamental or basic data platform are all managed by each company. Their company have data sovereignty for each company have. And our data EX are only to connect all of them, so federation using API. So this approach is almost the same as IDSA. And I think that the European approach, European data sovereignty approach, and the federation approach, and the Japanese data sovereignty and the federation approach almost the same. And I think United States, different approach. It's because data platform is a competitive area. So for example, the GAFA or AWS will provide data platform, no data sovereignty, that's a very commercial data platform. It's a data platform in United States. So government, so United States government, so do not touch this kind of activity, this kind of initiative, all company based. But in case of the IDSA and in case of Japan and Europe, the government and the industry collaborating with each other because data space is a collaborative area. So data EX approach is this approach. And also I think that China and India, I think the different approach for the data governance are a little bit different from one. So data EX, so now developing connector modules and in the stage of the under development, and our open source software will be provided to each company, and will be each company database will be federated in data EX infrastructure. It's a federation approach.
Thank you, Professor. My question here is, data EX doing program and you manage metadata?
Sorry, metadata?
Meaning that data EX only, because you do federations, so you do brokering, meaning many companies have their own data, which is actual data. And because of the sovereignty and security, so is managing the data or managing the metadata of come from different company, or meaning that you are doing the brokering?
We have two layers. So first one is we have data catalog function dealing with metadata, and also we are dealing with data itself because we have connector modules. Connector modules provide an API for the real data transfer and very trusted data exchange. So authentication or authorization and the ID provider is very important for data EX, for the trust. So for example, the open data, the data is freely transferred. So anyone can download, any can get open data. But using our data EX, only trusted people, only trusted company or only trusted person can transfer trusted data. So trusted person, trusted company, and trusted data, all trusted. So connector component is very important. So we have the two layers. First layer, the data catalog function. Data catalog function will collect metadata from the many companies. The catalog data, metadata, and it automatically we can collect, automatically crawling the data catalog for each company's data catalog and making a federated data catalog. This is the first layer. And the second layer, then we are using the connector component. The connector component can provide an API for the trusted data transfer. The trusted means trust of the users and trust of the data. So these two layer function. And also we will have a data market and data trading system. It's a selling and buying data. Such kind of market system is also important. But this is the future activity.
Last question. What is the role of the government of Japan? Because you are talking about the trusted. What's the role? Do you have any policy guideline, by the government by the government?
No, it's the government under discussion. But we have already law of the regulation of personal data. We have the regulation or law of the personal data. But we do not have a general regulation for data transfer. And the Japanese government said that how to make rules. There are many ways. First way is making a law. The second way is the rule in the industry. And the third rule is a rule for example, the data EX rule. For example, if some company become a member of our data EX, so some company must follow our rules. So it's not a law, but our organization rule. So such as the industry rule and government rule is a law. So many kinds of law. And now the Japan government, the law is very weak. Do not have many laws. And the Japan government expecting and hoping that the many organizations have their original rule in industry. They are expecting. So we data ICDXA will provide data governance rules also. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Professor Noboru Koshichuka. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Now, please join me in welcoming Professor Samuel from the University of Adelaide, Australia, who will be sharing valuable insights with us in our third keynote address. He is currently the head of Jeffrey Chow Institute for Southeast Asia and senior fellow at Jeffrey Sachs Centers for Sustainable Development at Sunway University, Malaysia. He also holds a joint appointment at the Institute for International Trade, University of Adelaide, Australia. Sorry for everyone, we have a technical issue. Please give me some time. We'll fix it as soon as possible.
Thank you. I'd like to thank the university for inviting me. And I'm actually quite happy that that my presentation was delayed. And there's a reason for that. The reason for that is this is called technology disruption. End of the day, it's people that matters. It's not technology that matters. So if artificial intelligence doesn't work, then we need to come in and correct that. And that is exactly what the first presentation ended with. The interesting part of the first presentation was the brain and the conclusion that people are the enablers. If people are not there, then artificial intelligence is not going to work. It's just artificial and intelligence. The brain is the intelligent part. So the brain cannot be artificial. So the gatekeeper that the first presenter presented is very fundamental for us from a philosophical point of view. The gatekeeper is the one that actually allows us to compartmentalize, decipher, and create the emotions we need to understand that information. And that emotion is either valuation, morals, and even cognitive components are very important for us. Can you imagine Einstein, the last stage, Einstein's brain is interfaced with artificial intelligence? I don't think so you will find the relativity theory at all. Because in his earlier part of his life, the gatekeeper allowed him to develop the deep understanding what relativity is about. Because it took a long time to get into the university to that stage. So what I'm trying to get at is, the first presentation was very interesting to me, but it's very scary also. Because if we allow, in fact now, the gatekeeper in our mind, the short circuit is not working. What does that mean? It means that a lot of the overdose of information is going to us. And this is what policymakers are worried, because my job in my presentation is supposed to talk about policy. So I need to bring the first presentation, second presentation, the question on how to manage information flow becomes very important for us. So first, the important intake for my first presentation, I'm very happy. The only two things I'm very happy for him. I don't like durian. He also don't like durian. And I'm very happy he's in the billionaire status. Not many people can do that, right? But from a policy perspective, I was very frightened when he showed me the last configuration. The last configuration means what happens to our society, what happens to our cognitive ability, and what happens to people who cannot participate in any of these things. That's where policymakers are coming in. So this overdose is hitting us, overdose of information is hitting us at a very fast pace. A good example is in Facebook, young girls are exposed to the kind of emotions and information they cannot understand. So there's an emotional quotient is hitting us that we are not controlling.
So again, policymakers are very worried about how to manage that overdose of information that's getting to us. From older people, the circuit breaker is also breaking down. Because the overdose of information, and you're pushing a lot of old people into this space, into this digital information space, and they couldn't cope too. A good example is e-wallet, no? So you give an e-wallet to my grandfather do not know how to do the e-wallet. You don't trust. The question is trust. So my job is to bring the first presentation and excellent second presentation. Both presentations were very excellent. I really learned a lot. And the second presentation, I was very intrigued and very happy that at the university level we are already doing that. So I was thinking, what is that I'm going to talk on? So I'm going to talk on a framework where at the ASEAN level, at the regional level, you're trying to bring things together and trying to bring the first presentation is what I call information highway. So whether we want to be on a slow information highway, because data information is the key. For artificial intelligence, they need high dose of information, data, and how much data you want to give. So when we overload the data, we are sidelined, but the artificial intelligence will come up very fast. 5G, 6G, that transformation is going to be fantastic. That's what the first presentation is about. So do we want to be on a different highway? So the idea is unify the highway. The last one, which I will show you the numbers, that if you want to be in a super highway, information highway, which is what the first presentation is about. So businesses are asking, the first presentation asking policymakers to move to the super highway, hyper highway. Very fast information flow, and let the information dictate how we're going to transform our society. Fairly, the policymakers are not sure how to move or what to do with the super hyper highway because the social implications, the businesses are not taking into account. It's unfortunate the first presenter left because my question to him is there are a lot of social implications emerging faster and faster. A lot of people are not able to participate in his vision. How he's going to bring that people into that vision is very fundamental in terms of policy. So this is what at the ASEAN level we are discussing. The senior officials and ministers are very concerned about this. How to address in this, if we move to this super highway of information just flowing freely, the mobility of information so fast that how is it going to affect societies, how is it going to affect individuals, and how is our kids are going to participate in this, and how does old people going to participate in this. With that, bring the first presentation and the second presentation. I try to create some avenue where we can actually, some avenue policymakers are thinking of. Because I'm also an advisor to ASEAN Secretariat. I also work with World Bank, ADB, and I'm also advisor to the Cambodian government. And yes, I hold a position in University of Adelaide, and also hold a position in Jeffrey Chai Institute for Southeast Asia. And before that, I worked in the US, and I work as a head of research for the Singapore government. So, and the slide actually highlights bringing the first presentation of businesses asking us to go on the super highway and allowing information flow to move very, very fast. That's the point that was made. Let the gatekeeper, relax the gatekeeper in our brain and allow more information to go up so we get more integrated with artificial intelligence. But artificial intelligence is different from data. Artificial intelligence is, we need to have an algorithm for artificial intelligence. And for intelligence to have for the artificial, you need machine learning. The machine must learn. And data is the fundamental component. Information is the fundamental component. The question we have is, are we ready to share our healthcare? Are we ready to share medical information from one person to the other? And information can be abused, misused, and sometimes can be used for good things. So how do we stop the abuse and misuse? And how can we enhance ourselves in this super information flow that we are trying to create? So we are moving very fast, and young people are moving even faster. Our teaching has changed. I can do my presentation here, or I can even do my presentation virtually. It makes little difference. And that is what we call real time. So during my time, when I go for a lecture, there's no real time. The only real time is I see the professor face to face. And the professor must see me face to face. Now it's multifaceted, horizontal, and also vertical. So that is what the second presentation, how to manage the different platforms of information and how to manage different integration of information. At the same time, on one hand, businesses want to share information, and the other hand, they also don't want to share information because that's how they make profit. The rate of return on an asset, the rate of return on equity is not based on sharing information. So the question is, when I share information, my rate of return on equity or rate of return on asset actually increase. That is an interesting question. That means, will the first presenter, will he able to share all his information open in an open access? He will never. For him to move into the last space, the last integration of human and artificial intelligence integrated, will he, as a business, will Google, will share all his information, including what has been done to the female, young ladies? They will never. So even from that space, policymakers are trying to deal with this issue in a very rule-based, integrated framework to understand what we can share and what we cannot share, and set a rule-based trading dimension. So that is the keyword. The keyword, it must be rule-based, such that any dispute on information sharing, any dispute on individuals who are disputing that information we share, can be legally undertaken. So, but the opportunities are huge. That's what the first presentation said. From SMEs, for individuals, everybody, there's ample opportunity. But the question is, it must be in a structured framework that enable us to grow together in a sustainable and inclusive manner. So that is the thing that was left out in the first presentation. Is it sustainable or is it inclusive? It is very exciting to see all the slides, but from the social perspective, that social perspective was left out. The second presentation is excellent presentation where we want to achieve social inclusion and sustainability. My job is to bring this together in some framework. So let's put everything together and say what is digitalization. So digitalization is a process of using digital technology. So all these different technologies, the first presentation made, and transform and various aspects of business operation, the second presentation. Government services, nobody talk about, and that is the important transformation we need. Without transforming government services and into e-commerce and e-procurement and so on and so forth, digitalization will still be very one-sided. And the key word here is, interestingly, society. Society as a whole, it involves adaptation and integration of digital technology, the internet and so on, so that society as a whole can be better off. So the first presentation made $1 billion. The question is, did the society as a whole improve? Yes. The presentation actually made the statement. Society as a whole improved. But did everybody able to participate in this? That is again an interesting question that the policymakers want to address. So in that context, I will raise an important issue called the ASEAN Digital Master Plan 2025 that was initiated in Brunei chairmanship, and again reinforced in Indonesian chairmanship. And the Digital Economy Framework Agreement, DIFA, was adopted in Indonesia. So I will try to bring that into our discussion point, because that's where the key policy dimension and some questions that Professor Wong had can be addressed in terms of how we're going to manage the sovereignty of information and how we're going to accept the mobility of information across countries. in a fair, in equitable, and a sustainable basis. So the idea is to develop a modern, comprehensive, and coherent digital transformation strategy towards ASEAN digital economy. So fairly, they're going to be an ASEAN digital economy itself. So again, it's in a comprehensive way and a fair, equitable manner, where the streamless and secure flow of goods, services, and data is underpinned by rules, regulation, infrastructure, and talent. So the rules and regulation need to come in to manage this flow of information. So DeFi, in fact, is the first regional or global level framework that allow us to bring all these different information set, including what the second presentation from Tokyo University trying to set up. It can be integrated into this framework. That means 10 countries is going to come, ASEAN is going to come, the first framework of digital economy itself. So there's a lot of bilateral agreements emerging. So we want to bring this together into a single framework where we can actually share and allow the first presentation to grow, but we're not sure we want to move this hyper super information flow highway, but fairly you want to get into a unified highway that we're going to manage. How? We're still going to have the circuit breakers, and we want the gate controller to be there to make sure the society as a whole is better off. So, fairly we believe the ASEAN 2050 vision will be centered very much in ASEAN digital economy. So, for your information, the ASEAN 2050 vision will be released in the Malaysia ASEAN Championship next year. So Malaysia is going to take over the championship from Laos next year, and the AEC 2050 vision, where the center might be, very likely will be the digital economy. So it'll be very interesting to see how that framework, so it's very timely that this university and Tokyo University is setting this up, and fairly there will be a convergence towards that convergence. So just to let the professor know. So fairly, to put certain perspective into what we are thinking of, the digital economy is much more wider and broader and important for us, and from an inclusive and sustainable point of view. So fairly, we would address some of the SDG goals into this, including climate change, including carbon footprint, and even economic integration for the next stage of growth. So as you can see, digital will be the core, and the technology and so on. We must be ready to embrace in a fair and equitable manner. So if technology is not embraced in a fair and equitable manner, it very likely will be will have very uneven impact on the society itself. So how we're going to manage this become very fundamental for us. So fairly you can see there are three important components: the digital sectors, then you have the digital hardware, and you also need the digital software. But the digital software is only driven by human capital. So I'm very happy that the first presentation ended up by talking about human capital. So if you don't have the right human resource to actually drive this, then all this digital economy is going to be very one-sided. So again, there's a big issue that we need to address. A good example is how can we address youth unemployment in a digital economy is going to be very fundamental for Malaysia itself. And this youth unemployment is very important because this youth we have are educated youth, and they are not able to match themselves with the labor market. So if digital economy accelerates too fast, and then there will be many talent will be left behind. Again, there need to be a fundamental shift in our thinking, in our universities, and our curriculum, how to map and match and maintain the gap or reduce the gap itself. And how to live and how to integrate the new digital business model. That's the business model that was proposed in the second presentation, the first presentation. How policymakers want to understand this in a very integrated and a fair manner so that we can actually bring this into a policy making framework itself. And the interesting part of digitalization is not the supply side is going to change, but the demand side, the consumers are going to change. So if you use a mapping of what Professor earlier presented, in the 2000, the B to B accelerated a lot. And in that framework, in the GVC, we call the knowledge and production-based fragmentation that took place. Face-to-face costs actually went down. So coordination costs become easier than the GVC emerged that enable us to break down. The next phase is what we call the third stage unbundling. The third stage unbundling is unbundling of individuals. That means individual skills will be unbundled, and that unbundling means we able to pocket our skills into different activities. So the third phase unbundling already started. And if you look at Singapore already started the third stage unbundling of individual skills. So how are you going to unbundle that skills become important. That's the presentation. The first slide, or the first presenter presented the job loss and the disruption on skills. The disruption on skills is because the unbundling is occurring. And only skilled people can unbundle. Semi-skilled, unskilled cannot unbundle. Again, this is an important social issue that emerging faster and faster. So how are we going to manage the labor market? How are we going to manage the non-economic forces that digitalization will release? So what are these non-economic forces? So the last stage the professor actually highlighted, the C is becoming stronger and stronger. So C is dictating what the B is supposed to do, business is supposed to do. So business have to become more real-like and understand the preferences of the C. But interestingly, the C is also dictating what the G is going to do. That means the C consumers, people are telling the G what exactly they're going to do, because now every politician will have a Facebook reacting to what the C wants. So that transformation becomes very important. So people who control this information also controls how people think and how government is going to decide. So again, as you know, as this becomes very apparent that there must be a role to manage the flow of information. That's the reason why we cannot get into the super highway of information flow. Because the C is telling the G, and the person who controls that information can actually dictate what the government is going to do. And that is a very scary scenario, and this is already occurring in many, many elections. So the government is very wary that free flow information is not likely, although that's an equilibrium, but not very likely. So they want to have a highway, they're going to manage this. So the DIFA is based on looking at 9 core elements of trade, digital trade. These 9 core elements are important. And this study has been done by Australia for ASEAN under their framework. So fairly you can see digital trade is very important because that transformation is going to accelerate. And digital trade has very important component. So we're going to discuss virtual trade, virtual migration, virtual investment. So the way we have defined our trade from WTO, the trade is based on 4 modes and services. So when I say you are digitalized, you will be servicified. The whole idea of giving you digitalization a code is because service sector and services is going to hit us faster and faster. At the same time, when we are more servicified, then the service sector will grow faster and faster. So when Apple released the new iPhone, it will be very, very servicified. It's going to give us a lot of more services that we might not even use in our lifetime. At the same time, the supply side is also becoming very servicified. So manufacturing has become very servicified because of digitalization and the global value chain activities. And this is what you call service linkages, moving goods faster and faster. So digital trade will transform, and we're going to see a lot of leakages in trade. So that means, what we mean by leakages, people don't need to cross the border to provide a service anymore. For example, I can provide this service to this conference sitting somewhere else in any part of the world. And if I get paid for this, this payment is not going to go through the border. So again, there are a lot of leakages in services and service activities itself. Then we have the cross-border commerce, and this is where dominance of large companies comes into play. So if you go to Cambodia, China e-commerce is strong. That means it's very difficult to see a local e-commerce dominance appearing. Then payments. Now you don't need to carry any cash. You just carry your Apple phone. Then digital ID and authentication. Very important. So now you can borderlessly cross using a passport. Just scan, face recognition, and just move across. You don't need even a chop. So digitalization and mobility of people will be faster. And data protection, online cybersecurity issues, talent mobility and cooperation on emerging topics, and competition policy. So the competition policy is very important. That's the question Professor Wong was asking the other professor. How does company sovereignty in controlling the information is important, because the IP is based on controlling the information. So we need a new kind of IP system, a new kind of IP in services. So most of our IP is own manufactured goods. So how do we identify and keep IP on digitalized space is also important and enforce that. So becoming very, very important for us. So these are now new emerging issues, and new emerging issues provide new emerging opportunities for SMEs to come and develop. So, and this is important. This study actually shows, later I will show you the three trajectories. The first trajectory says that if we keep where we are, fairly we will get $1 trillion US dollar in trade. Just keep where we are. Then I'll show you the number where we are. Just doing what we are, we still can get 1.3 trillion digital trade itself. So now we can define what is digital trade. So the WTO and OECD has released list of products they can classify as a digital trade and digital related products. So using that classification, we can do a projection. So if we use the baseline of DeFi is the baseline of the 9 core, and fairly we want to get take the minimum base and unify them and do a simulation. Fairly we get 1.4 trillion US dollar in trade. Baseline, the baseline of just convergence. And that is a single line, single information flow highway, most likely ASEAN is going to take. And if we want to get into the first presentation of a super hyper information flow highway, the projection says that you can get 1.9 or $2 trillion in growth and trade, and in terms of even GDP itself. So the question is, for policymakers, do they want to get into the information superhighway and go for the 2 trillion? My guess is they will never go for that one, because I already mentioned the C to G is dictating what, who is going to control that information flow will control a lot of political economy itself. So basically, if I calibrate myself from that downward, fairly we're going to end up in a DeFi with some baseline. But the DeFi, as I mentioned, is a rule-based. That's exactly what the question Prof. Wong was asking. Can we have a rule-based trading framework that allows enough information flow across countries, there will be movement of goods, movement of people, and movement of trade, and movement of investment. So, can we evaluate the current status? So as I mentioned, our digital trade in ASEAN is increasing pretty fast. pretty accelerating pretty fast. And that is important for us, and you can download the data from UNCTAD and measure this. So fairly you can go to see we are hitting a very high level, and we already grow within 2005 to 2021. The digital trade is already increasing by 45%. So the digital trade is not about products, and digital trade is also about services. So services is accelerating our digital trade faster and faster. Logistics, financial services, aviation services, digitalization is accelerating this very, very fast. And in terms of how ASEAN controls the digital trade, fairly there is a lot of differentials in how we participate in digital trade. More mature economies participate more because your mature industries are able to capture a lot of these mature production of digital trade itself. And less ASEAN LDCs are actually struggling. So there should be a differential treatment of how countries are going to participate in this DeFi. The differential is very important for us. And there's again some agreements already appearing, like the Singapore, Australia, New Zealand DeFi agreement is already appearing strongly. So fairly the benchmark that we can use to see and use that to implement into ASEAN, fairly we can see how we are going to move. So those students who are interested to see how to measure this digital economy itself is very important. It's not the first presentation from policy perspective. The second presentation and information flow is important, but the outcome, there's three elements in policy: implementation, evaluation, and monitoring. For this, you need information. And within, I can say this for Singapore, Malaysia, ministries to ministries, they don't share information under the Information Secrecy Act. No ministry can share the information to the other ministry. The same thing in Singapore, because we are colonized by the British. So we follow the British system. And the information from one ministry is not following to the other ministry. How can we get in the DeFi itself? It's an interesting question. So again, we can have measures, digital connectivity, digital trade facilitation, e-government, and a digital services restrictiveness index. These are all new indices that are coming out. Fairly we can use that to see where we are. And the trajectory is from where we are, this measure, we still can get 1.1 trillion. So you can see the digital connectivity, the less developed countries, LDCs are lower. And of course, Malaysia, it's slightly higher. It's one of the strong economy with a very strong digital connectivity. By right, we are one of the first countries that started the multimedia super corridor. So by right, our connectivity is one of the strongest. But the question is, can we keep the verticals going up? From the first presentation, it's not the connectivity, it's going up, the verticals become important. So we need to create enablers for the verticals. On the right-hand side, in terms of digital trade facilitation, countries like Singapore is quite high. Sorry, Singapore is quite high, and then Thailand is higher, and then we have Malaysia. Malaysia is lower than Indonesia, equal in Philippines, and lower than Thailand, and lower than Indonesia. This is not I created. This comes from the UNCTAD data set. They harmonize these data set. So fairly this is important for us. So we are well connected, but we are not doing enough policy to facilitate this digital trade itself. Then in terms of e-government, this is Malaysia. This is Malaysia. And Laos and Cambodia are very restrictive. And then the less restrictive ones are Philippines, Malaysia, Thailand, and Vietnam. So fairly you can see even Indonesia is less restrictive than Malaysia. So this is again important as an indicator. So for us to help the first presentation to grow, and for us to participate in university collaboration, we need to work on this. So facilitation and services restrictiveness. If the other countries are so low, they are capturing a lot of digital trade from us. Yes, you're connected, but high, but we are not doing the other things right. So in terms of the e-government, you can see Malaysia, Singapore is very high. So that's a good thing. So our government is well induced and well embedded in terms of e-procurement and e-government itself. Okay, so this is overall, so we can actually, if you want, you can do a policy on this and start breaking down this. So in terms of different payment system, you take the restrictiveness index and you can break it down. And this is very new data set, so you can play many things. So yes, you can see infrastructure and connectivity in ASEAN itself is the weakest, highly restricted. And in terms of payment system, intellectual property right, we are very strong because a lot of free trade agreements we have. But in terms of overall connectivity and overall in terms of digital services, we are not doing very well. So I already mentioned, digitalization is servicifying, individual servicifying. If we strongly believe that digitalization increase and services is going to grow, we need to work on these two things. But having said this, I think if we start measuring in another few years' time, the infrastructure index will fall a lot now, because Laos already have the fast train from Kunming to Bhutan to Vientiane that will link to Bangkok. And Indonesia is already have Bandung to Jakarta to Surabaya. The Java island will be linked with highways. So the plan is from Hanoi, we're going to link to Ho Chi Minh. Ho Chi Minh, we're going to link to Phnom Penh to Bangkok. Highways, not highways, super trains. So that is the plan. So there will be two focal ASEAN centrality. One in Cambodia, Laos, Thailand, Vietnam, and the other is Indonesia. The question is, where is Malaysia, Singapore, Thailand, Philippines going to place? It's very important. Okay. People are looking at connectivity and infrastructure. So this is the story that's emerging faster and faster. Okay, this is my last slide, and then I open for question. First one is, what are the effects of digitalization? And digitalization will induce the supply and the demand side will accelerate faster and faster, which means the supply side is going to change. The way people are going to manufacture, people are going to use artificial intelligence, and people are going to use machine learning is going to accelerate. So manufacturing will be very servicified. That means the product they're going to put out will have a lot of services, and after services will also grow. The product they're going to sell to us, will have a lot of service component. At the same time, the consumer side will change a lot. We're going to accelerate faster and faster. The young people, they want to trade more on the digital space than in the face-to-face or brick and mortar space, which basically means a lot of real estate we put out is going to be it's going to be just a place for us to date around, walk around, but most of the purchasing will be done online. So that means interface of the shopping with the digital space become very important for us. And at the same time, individuals will be very servicified. So your house will be Googleized. That means your new phone, you will have Google that will pick up all the information of your house, and you can use your phone, or you go home, you don't need to switch up your light. You say, whatever, Google, switch off the light, you switch off the light. On the TV, you on the TV for you. It's already happening now. Robots are going to clean your house. So we will be very, very servicified. And at the same time, new business models will emerge, and new type of services will emerge. And that is the first presentation. And the first presentation was so forward-looking that able to capture the new business model. You know, the way he set up his equation is a new business model. that allows new ideas to emerge faster and faster. The question is, we should facilitate this from policy perspective. But for us to facilitate, we need to understand what we are facilitating. That is the difficulty. Policymakers do not understand many of these technologies. So if you don't understand these technologies, you will be very, very regulatory, not facilitating. So that is the other issue that we are trying to deal with as an advisor to the governments, that how do we educate policymakers so that they can take the risk of policy. Policymakers do not want to take policy risk. So digital space is creating them a lot of policy risk. Policy risk, political risk is also intertwined. So at the same time, digital technology will create fragmentation and agglomeration at the same time. So what is agglomeration? The first presentation is about agglomeration. Artificial intelligence needs fast information, high density. So you need very close contact. Driverless cars, you need very close contact. A lot of overdose of information. So you're going to see urban centers with high dose of information coming to them, and you're going to see artificial intelligence. And agglomeration, the industry is very close to learning. That agglomeration, consumers will stay very close and see consumer agglomeration, called urban agglomeration, is going to grow. And industrial agglomeration will grow. At the same time, you're going to see fragmentation. So the presentation from the second presentation of the professor, in 2000 we saw a lot of fragmentation, production breaking down, because the transaction cost came down and we were able to break down the production and move them around and share the knowledge. So we're going to experience fragmentation. That means from here I can reach the furthest part of the world, furthest part of this building or the university. At the same time, I need this kind of lecture theatre where I'm going to see agglomeration. So policymakers need to understand what is going to drive fragmentation, and how can I participate in fragmentation, and how do I participate in agglomeration. Which business will be in fragmentation, which business will be in agglomeration. So this information sharing that the second platform, second presentation is presenting, will be interesting if the study can extend what are the sectors or firms that will grow from this information sharing in terms of fragmentation. Everybody can be able to participate. Agglomeration, how can I position myself up in the value chain? So fairly policy matters in this kind of environment. The reason why policy matters, when the C start dictating what the G is going to do, and people who control that information actually dictates both sides, then the government will control the mobility of information. So how fast information is going to flow is what DeFi is about. How fast are we ready to go into a hyper super journey and allow information to just grow and flow? It's quite scary actually. Who's going to manage this information and how the information will be shared? And individuals, when you are servicified and digitalized, individual rights become very important. So you're also not sure how that will be managed. So policy matters in terms of movement of information, and for policy coordination across ministries. Ministries will have different, that's the first iteration. Ministries to ministries. Behind border, issues in digitalization is important. So the ministry to ministry coordination is important. So the second presentation is about how to coordinate businesses' information in a very secure, and the word that was used is trust. What is this trust? The trust is will not be misused and used for somebody else's profit. So trust allows us to come down to the level to share. So ministries to ministry, we need to coordinate. That's the first iteration behind border, before we go to the regional level. So at the same time, what we're going to see is governance of regional and global value chain. How we can facilitate and manage this. The governance of value chain is not done by us, not done by policymakers, it's done by the multinationals. Multinationals decide how they move goods. Multinationals decide how they're going to slice their production. Then the question is, I cannot over-regulate and reduce the GVC activities. I still need to facilitate that, facilitate the governance of this. So this become important. And it's important to understand the empowerment of digitalization on individuals and consumers. How, in a very rational manner, how is consumers are empowered. So most of the time, policymakers cannot understand the empowerment of individuals. And that empowerment is very interesting. So fairly, we need more research to understand the behavioral changes and the empowerment from the demand side. And understand the uneven impacts of digitalization. So there is a framework. So fairly, I said we're not going to go to superhighway or information flow. So fairly, you want to count because the uneven impacts are there. So fairly, as a society, we need to realize we need everybody to participate, young, old, skilled, unskilled. The rural, urban sector must participate. That's what inclusive and sustainable growth is. So unfortunately, the first presenter here, I would like to see his view of how that element, that unevenness, that his company can help. If that helps, then the public-private partnership will accelerate into this kind of digital space. So fairly social impact on individuals, rural, urban sectors, and even in Malaysia, there are many parts in Malaysia where the rural sector is left out of a lot of development that's taking place. Again, these are very important issues that we need to do. So, key factors for growth, forward-looking institutions. Forward-looking institution is not just want to get the superhighway. Singapore want to get the superhighway because invest $4 billion to $5 billion of individuals, skills, called future skills. But not many countries have that kind of $4 to $5 million to throw on individuals and go and give individual learning fund and go do many things. So again, the framework is different. So we need forward-looking institutions to understand all these different dimensions and understand the behind-border issues. And trade and investment facilitation, I already showed you that's where we are lacking. And infrastructure connectivity. So as superhighways are emerging in Laos, the ASEAN LDC, Vietnam will have fast train from Hanoi to Ho Chi Minh, and then that will link to Phnom Penh. So Cambodia, that region will integrate towards Bangkok. Then Indonesia, they have very good airport, subway. Now downtown you go to Indonesia is very exciting. They are fast train. Bandung to Jakarta already started. Bandung to Surabaya will be built by the Japanese. Twice the size, the length of Bandung to Jakarta. Fast train, reaching the other end very fast. What is Malaysia is going to do? We can't just rely on the 1980s intermediate spur corridor anymore. So we need to go verticals. So we need to think, seriously need to think about that. So connectivity become important, and human capital development, very fundamental for us, very, very important for us. And that is again where we are lagging behind. Other countries are catching up faster and faster. And we need a rule-based learning and forward-looking reforms. So Mr. Wang's question is very important. Can there be a rule-based competition policy clearly defined that companies can share the information and they can put forward what of the information they want to share? And from a regional level, you want to have a regional agreement that all the economic ministers, 10 plus one more, East Timor is going to join us, 11 sign and legally binding agreement of a digital economy and how we're going to do trade, how we're going to do competition, and how we're going to do movement of people, movement of trade, and how we're going to capture virtual migration, how do we capture virtual investment. All these components are important, and whether we're going to have a regulatory body to manage this. So what are the sectors that are affected? And these are only some of the sectors, because the professor already presented the healthcare. But for me, it's not the healthcare, robotics coming in to do all the surgery, but information sharing become important. So we're going to see another pandemic. So when the pandemic hit us, how fast we share the information becomes important. So fairly, the digital space will give us at least some platform of sharing this information across. Which basically means we can have some kind of early warning system that can go around. So we need to quickly have to set up those kind of things. Those are important from policy perspective. And healthcare resilient. We need to use digital space not only to improve and live longer and so on, to create more resilient for our older people, also resilient from this kind of pandemic shocks. Increase in productivity, exactly the first and the second presentation. Productivity, our agriculture sector will accelerate. Smart agriculture, smart learning, all these things are going to hit us. Will make us more enabling itself. And investment in virtual mobility of individuals. There will be increase in virtual mobility of individuals working from home. So until now, and this is the interesting part about digitalization that people don't talk about. Digitalization is very uneven. It takes a lot of returns from workers and give it to employers. So a good example is, if you go back home, employer sends you an email, a WhatsApp, you're replying to that. But labor contract says that you don't need to reply to him because you only work 8 hours a day. But workers are working more than 8 hours a day. So somebody is extracting this work from you. And that's the reason why a lot of tech companies are making supernormal profit. And the redistribution of this profit, productivity, is not captured and not returned back to the workers. Because digitalization means we will be servicified and we will be going into a contractual agreements. We're not going to have lifelong employment. That is very clear. In a digitalized space, when I slice my skills, it's all will be based on contracts. So the enforcement of contracts in a labor market becomes very important in the third stage unbundling. So virtual mobility of individuals and increase in virtual mobility of capital. A lot of capital is going to come in. Fintech, blockchain, crowdfunding. So a lot of investment is going to come in, will not be based in Malaysia or Singapore. Singapore companies will investing by putting the virtual space. All they need to do is to register. They don't need any physical space. If they're going to have a physical space, a small office, maybe one guy is sitting down there. That's it. So the whole idea in investment is going to change itself. So we're going to see more virtual investment and virtual migration. Virtually, people can hold 2 or 3 PR, 2 or 3 citizenship. That's what they call global citizenship. That is also emerging faster and faster. Again, we're going to see increase in an acceleration of unbundling of individuals. That means skilled people are able to unbundle. So now, this is the work that we are doing now. We take a skill and the accounting skill, we're able to break the skill from repetitive bookkeeping to semi-repetitive to cognitive and strategic. So we divide the skills. So artificial intelligence is taking all the repetitive bookkeeping because they can go to 10 decimal points. Individuals maybe we go to 2 or 3 decimal points. They don't make any error. So all the middle jobs are all disappearing. We don't need a secretary. I have my iPhone. So when I take up a position, they say, "Oh, welcome, professor. This is your secretary. Give me an iPhone." No, I don't have any physical secretary. So there's only one shared secretary, or everybody share. And then they give me an iPhone, and the person just control my movement through the iPhone. Done. So again, you're going to see that kind of shared services emerging and changing a lot of activities. So the third stage unbundling is we moving into that space. So fairly we need to prepare our kids for that third stage unbundling, because in our lifetime, we will be displaced at least 3 to 4 times. Economic shock will hit us, and this technology disruption is going to accelerate faster and faster. This technology is called general purpose technology. A general purpose technology, a technology that fundamentally change the way we're going to live. So when the general purpose technology hit us, fundamentally our life will change. That's what we are worried about artificial intelligence. If you don't believe me, if I go and sit in a dinner table, my 2 girls, they don't talk to each other. Their social quotient is already gone. They're only talking in the iPhone. And when food is served, they eat, and they go back play again. So only me and my wife is talking, right? So we are married, so we need the social quotient now. My kids don't have. So again, the going back to the brain, the circuit breaker, the gatekeeper is overdosed. It's not that he's not getting the overdose of information. Kids are getting confused. They are shifting their moral values out. Can you imagine people want to have robots as their wife? Why? Because I go home, the robot would say, welcome honey. No complaint. I know that they give pocket money. Clean up the whole place. Why not, right? So people prefer that. No, it's amazing to me. How can you have a robot as a wife? I can't see my wife. My wife would knock me down, right? So then you say, why don't I have a husband as a robot too? It's easy too. So they go out and work and give me the money. So again, the society is changing. So with that, let me close, and then I'll be happy to take any questions. So mine is purely policy side.
Due to the time limitation, we'll open one question for our Q&A session.
Only one. At least two, don't be stingy.
So 2 questions.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Professor, it's very good to have you. I'm very glad, that we learned. Although it's quite a lot of things to digest. Anyway, I think Dr. Wong has done a good job to link you, and perhaps Dr. Wong can immediately upload your presentation onto the YouTube, and also alert other agencies such as ASEAN, maybe ASEAN Trade Council or RCEP, or even to the relevant Malaysian ministry and say, hey, you are lagging behind, you should have been here, So tell them, next time to come. Anyway, I'm very glad that I learned a lot, and you did say that one of the presenters that is not here, or you could have interacted with him. I was told by him that tonight he'll be at the swimming pool dinner networking. Perhaps you can be there.
Yeah, right.
Okay. Anyway, thank you once again. I think I would like to say that if I would give a rating of your presentation out of 1 out of 10, you are 9.5 or almost there. You know how you can become 10? Have our MC, have a moderator to highlight your speech, before the audience asks a question. The moderator or the MC must be quick to capture the essence and tell the audience, look, don't be sleepy, you must be alert. I think you must have a co-MC or moderator to get up the excitement so that we, sleeping audience, can be woke up by your comment. Thank you.
You have been very kind to me, Lord. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, please. That's a question.
Thank you. Yeah, I actually learned a lot from you. Thank you. I would like to ask the key sectors on your last slide. Why these manufacturing sectors and, for example, e-commerce, they are not included in this discussion?
That's a good point. Because if you go to DIFA, DIFA already highlighted the key sectors there. So fairly we know what are the key sectors. Finance, logistics, e-commerce, all comes under the digital space itself. And also some key sectors in manufacturing. And we already identified them. But this is important because fairly if I go out and say e-commerce, finance, it is okay, and fairly everybody should be able to digest that. But to say the last part in terms of healthcare and how digital space itself, we can set up something like what the professor is setting up in Tokyo. And then in terms of sharing information and setting a very safe, trusted protocol for sharing healthcare information for pandemic, next pandemic, and setting up some kind of platform for sharing and some kind of protocol for sharing, that will be very useful for us. That's why I was trying to highlight, not the normal component. And the other one, why I highlighted agriculture is, when we do our free trade agreement, our trade, we only think of manufacturing. That mindset need to change. Second is we need to move into services and start thinking about services. But why I highlighted agriculture is the low base. So the low base, if you allow digital economy to come in, the leapfrogging effect from agriculture is very high. So the gains from agriculture compared to manufacturing and services, the impact will be significant. And the first presentation actually showed you the significant impact of introducing to those unobservable sectors, and you see the leapfrogging effect. So again, that's the reason why I just choose this. So that's a very good question.
So thank you very much, Professor Sandro. We'll kindly request you to remain on stage as we move forward with the token of appreciation giving sessions. It is now my distinct pleasure to invite Associate Professor Dr. Chin Wan Yok, accompanied by Dr. Chan Kai Ming, to present the token of appreciation to Professor Sandro in the acknowledgement of his invaluable contributions as a keynote speaker for our conference today.
Professor is not going to get any please get out.
Professor Sandro, before you leave the stage, we will be honored if you would kindly remain for a group photo session with other keynote speakers. Moving forward, we would like to extend our appreciation to Professor Noboru Koshichuka. Professor, may we invite you to receive the token of appreciation? I would like to invite all of you to have a group photo together. Thank you everyone. You may now return to your seat. After this stimulating session, let's take a well-deserved lunch break until 1:30 p.m. That's 1 hour and 15 minutes. We'll pause to refresh ourselves and network with fellow attendees. A delicious lunch awaits you just outside this auditorium. Feel free to mingle, reconnect, and recharge for the upcoming sessions. Enjoy your break.